Alright, this is a kind of quick, sloppy cell phone video. I know, another one of these. I really don't want to get in the habit of doing this, but, you know, stuff, right? The repair place essentially crippled my laptop's compatibility with standard formats, wiped out all the programs and files I had on there, and this was right after I found what I would consider to be the best YouTube setup for me. So much for that one, and it's a work day and my vacation's over, so whatever. Let's get this out of the way, right? This is my GoPro Hero 12 Black. It's the first and last GoPro I've, ever bought, really. The only real reason I bought this is because my favorite action camera is not being made anymore, and it goes for thousands of dollars second-hand. So unfortunately I couldn't get another one of those, so I ended up being stuck with this one. Now there were a lot of cool things about this one that I was really excited about. I know GoPro's had issues for many years. It's the same stupid crap that they refuse to fix year after year. They're the only company I know of like that, which makes them pretty bad. And when you have a company that releases unfinished products with reliability issues, glitches, and lag, and it's the premium one for the high-end price in terms of action cameras anyway, that's pretty bad when you have companies releasing unfinished products. But when they release the same unfinished product year after year for several years in a row and don't fix any of those issues, that's when you know it's a company that's not worth wasting your time with. But I ended up with it anyway. I figured, maybe this one's got enough good things about it to the point where I can tolerate the bad things. It's kind of hit or miss. I've never had a camera that I've hated so much, and at the same time, I've never had a camera like this where I love it and I hate it at the same time. When it works, it's pretty good. It's not amazing, it's pretty good, and that's when it works. The problem is on a good day, it only works half the time, so what do I mean by it's pretty good but not great? Well, that's the image quality. Now, I did fix the settings here because by default it looked horrible and it was the worst Crayola color science I've ever seen. There's a furnace, of course, and I'm in the room right next to it, so sorry about that noise, but this, I changed it, I made it better, but it's still not there, and I think the problem is just the lower quality lens and sensor. The sharpness just isn't there. It has the resolution. 27 megapixels for an action camera is pretty good. But when I look at the pictures, even the raw files, which is what I'm shooting in most of the time with this camera, they're just not sharp. And you could sharpen them. I've done it out of curiosity, and it helps, sure, but it's not the same because it's just adding fake detail, which means it's not as detailed. And you can tell by looking at it. You can look at a picture that actually has details because it has a high quality lens and a good image sensor and it's a good camera, versus a GoPro with massive amounts of sharpening, and you can tell, and it doesn't look good. So, despite it being 27 megapixels, it actually doesn't look anywhere near half as good as my 6 megapixel camera from 2 decades ago. How does that make any sense? Well, it's because of hardware. If you were to just look at the resolution, you'd think this would just be the best thing ever. But when you actually look at the results, it sucks. And that's when it works. Reliability with this thing is a huge problem. What is this? The stupid silicone case just grabs on everything. I put it down on the ottoman, and look, the damn thing doesn't come off, and it's a piece of crap camera anyway, who cares? I almost threw this thing multiple times. I was so pissed off with just how inferior it was. Voice command used to be the one and only thing that worked on this camera all the time. Now it doesn't. Now that's gone too. It was great when it worked, not having to mess with the unreliable touchscreen that also has lots of lag, to just be able to say, GoPro, take a picture, and it takes a picture. Even from halfway across the backyard when it's super windy and I'm not even shouting at it, it was able to work every single time. Now it doesn't. Now I can be 2 feet away from it with absolutely no background noise at all in a quiet house, and it just doesn't hear me. That happened last night, and it certainly wasn't the first time. I told it, take a picture, take a picture, take a picture, take a picture, take a picture. I tried that GoPro take a picture command several times, and it did not work. Annoying. I tried it in my car. I wasn't moving, there was no sound in the car was parked, it was 2 feet away from me, I did not have the radio on, I did not have the heater on, there's no air conditioning on, nothing was on, and I'm in a really quiet, really heavy 21, 22-year-old car with thick doors. It was dead in there, trust me. And this stupid thing still couldn't do it. Multiple times. I tried it different ways, I tried it quietly, I tried shouting at it, the stupid thing would never work. The touchscreen is a disaster. Sensitivity is good, reliability is abysmal. And then on top of that, the image quality. Yeah, sure, it's high resolution, but what good is that resolution when the detail is not there? So, I plan on making a more detailed video on this camera, and we'll do some side-by-side comparisons so we could all laugh at it together and GoPro as a company. I think the Hero 4 Black was kind of, that was in GoPro's glory days. I think everything else they're releasing now is just kind of, they're adding stuff, but they're not fixing the problems. They're adding problems, they're not fixing them. Even with the updates, this has all the newest updates, by the way. Didn't help it at all. In fact, that's what broke the voice command on this one, so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And that's the problem with it. I hate having a camera that I cannot rely on. I wanted this camera just for simple things. A quick little outing with my aunt and uncle, something small that was an actual camera. I wanted something that just captures the moment. It's not professional grade. It never was. It never will be. I understand that. I'm not expecting this to deliver professional grade results, and I'm not stupid enough to use this in a professional environment. When my gigs come up, I have the first one coming up in like 3 days. You better believe I'm not going to waste my time with the GoPro, because I'm smarter than that. That's not what a GoPro's for, but for capturing family moments, it's great. I love the form factor, the screen on the front, although the screen protector never stays on, the screen on the back. The user interface is pretty good when it works. The problem is 97% of the stuff relies on the touchscreen to work, which only works half the time on a good day. Also, if you do use this as an action camera and you bust this touchscreen, you can kiss the whole damn thing goodbye, because that's not replaceable. Not user replaceable anyway, and everything relies on the touchscreen working. Also, if you're fishing and your fingers are wet, or if you're in the rain, this touchscreen won't work because it's a touchscreen and touchscreens do not like water. And again, even when it's perfectly dry in a perfect environment like this one at room temperature, it still only works half the time. So, yeah, GoPro sucks. I'd never buy one again. There's a lot of great things I love about this camera. Horizon lock is awesome. Everything is pretty slow, when the menus do work, which again is only half the time. It's a very slow experience. You really need to take your time with this camera. That's the other annoying thing about it. Everything just takes so long with this camera. Everything's slow. There's just lag everywhere all the time. But the big thing too is when you do scroll down, you can scroll like this, and I'm not new to touchscreens. You scroll down, you go through your settings, and while you're scrolling, it randomly selects several different settings, and you need to fix it. There's been times I've needed to fix it several times in a row because I scroll like this, and it selects everything in like a random order. Very aggravating when you're fighting with your camera because your camera refuses to do what you tell it to. This is something that is only designed for pictures and videos, yet it fails at it 50+% of the time. Incredible. Something only GoPro would be able to do. I don't know. I looked at the pictures. Yeah, the resolution's there, but the quality isn't. The dynamic range isn't very good on this thing. Okay, that's understandable. It's a smaller sensor. That's one of the many drawbacks of small sensors. But then there's other things. The sharpness isn't there at all. So it looks like for capturing family moments, I'm kind of going to be sticking with the phone because it does a better job than the GoPro. And heck, even the front-facing camera on this phone does a better job and has better resolution. But I like this one because I was able to sit it down like this, and it stands up by itself. A phone does not do that. And I was able to take a picture. I like the voice command on this when it works. You know, it used to always work, now it doesn't. And then there's the durability of this thing. Not like I've ever dropped it, but it is much more durable than a phone. And then other things, the video stabilization. When it's sunny outside, the stabilization on this is the best ever. Like, it far surpasses everything else I've seen. At nighttime, on the other hand, my Sony cameras from several years ago absolutely crush this. Oh, and also at reliability and audio quality and sharpness and the quality lens and everything that actually matters. The Sony just crushes this thing at, but especially with those new updates they gave it, holy crap, GoPro just can't compete. But yeah, you know, it's just one of those things. It really is. A lot of great things about it, a lot of horrible things about it. Um, you know, it's just unfortunate. So now this thing spends most of its time wasting away in a drawer because I'd much rather use other cameras. Heck, even my cheap compact digital cameras from over the years, the cheap ones, they take much better pictures than this. Oh, and they work 100% of the time too. Those are two things this doesn't have: reliability and picture quality. You can process the pictures, sure, you can use manual mode, and that's great. Personally, I mean, I've done some things with manual mode on this camera, not too much, because if I'm going to use manual mode, I'm not going to waste my time with a camera like this. I'm going to pick up one of my real cameras and get vastly superior quality pictures. Oh, with a camera that doesn't fight against me, because it works all the time, and it's quicker and easier to change settings because it has dedicated physical controls for that. So, yeah, see, there's another thing from that ottoman again. This thing's got stuff all over it. So yeah, there it is. The Hero 12 Black. It's just another disappointment from GoPro. Um, yeah. Video quality, the resolution's there, the sharpness isn't. Lots of grain and low light. Holy smokes, never seen that much grain in any camera, not even an action camera. And then the image stabilization is digital, which is the new thing now. The problem with digital image stabilization, and the reason why all professionals, you know, professional grade equipment and professionals just don't use digital image stabilization, is because it's not as good. Digital image stabilization it's a cheaper way of doing things, but it's not the best way of doing things. That's why when I buy a lens that costs thousands of dollars, it has optical image stabilization. When I get a nice high quality camera, it has optical image stabilization. There's no digital crap in there anywhere because it's not as good. Because with digital image stabilization, unlike optical where it reacts on movement, digital image stabilization needs to see things in order to stabilize them. And when it cannot see things very well at night, because it's a small camera with a tiny image sensor, it can't stabilize things well either. Now I know everyone's going to be screaming at me, well, the Insta360 Ace Pro has good low light stabilization. And yes, for digital it's good, but compared to my optical stuff, it's crap, because digital image stabilization isn't as good in low light as optical image stabilization is, especially higher quality optical image stabilization systems. That's why you will never find anyone in Hollywood using digital image stabilization in a camera. It's all optical, or they use a gimbal or some kind of rig. That's why all my higher-end cameras do not have digital image stabilization in them. It's just not as good. Now, I could go on and on about the things that I hate about this camera, but I think for a short review, this is enough. A lot of problems, you know, it's fun when it works. I can deal with the lackluster image quality if they fix the reliability, but right now it's just nothing but problems. So, some things I like about it, a lot of things I hate about it. But unfortunately, my favorite action camera isn't being made anymore, so I only have one. I wanted to pick up a second one, but now I'm just too afraid to bring that thing out of the house because it's worth thousands of dollars, so the GoPro it was. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a mistake buying this camera, but it definitely has some serious limitations and a lot of them. So that's all for this one, and yeah, I'll see you next time. We'll do a full review on this and we'll laugh at it together.